Alright, here we are today. Hopefully heads are going to go on and everything will get put back together, and hopefully we'll be firing up a little later. I've pulled the cover here and replaced the gaskets here and here. I put a new oil pressure sending unit up there, or back there I should say. I've been having trouble with my oil pressure gauge, just reading kind of whatever it wants, either max out or zero out constantly. I replaced the knock sensors not too long ago, so those went back in. I also, right before this happened, put a new water pump on it. And so I've just installed brand new lifter trays here, and just installed some LS7 lifters. Both of those came from Texas Speed. I like Texas Speed. They've in the past helped me get a 2001 Z28 to about 353 horsepower and 360 foot-pounds at the ground, with basically a set of headers, their Y pipe, a hooker catback, and an SLP air lid. So I've always liked Texas Speed. Lived in Texas for a number of years. My parents currently live in Texas, so does my older sister. So, call it a personal preference. We have LS7 style lifters in there now. So, I guess next thing is to kind of wipe everything down, make sure everything's clean. And then we're setting, we got to make sure all the head bolt threads are clear. And then we can set the new head gaskets down, put the new heads, or not the new, but the cleaned up heads down, and then we can start the wonderful torque sequence, which does not look like any kind of fun, and we'll go from there. I'd also like to say that Rock Auto gave me the oil pressure sending unit, and I also got the gasket, I believe, from rockauto.com. So, and there it's a Felpro. So Rock Auto also supplied the head gaskets, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you that now, because there's not going to be any filming while I'm putting the heads on, because I'm doing that solo. And they're Molly brand, and the push rods are from Melling. So, all right, let me get back to it. Okay, quick update. I think the last video I made was on Sunday. Here we are on Thursday evening, and we're really coming up on, Friday. It's that late. So I had the heads on, like you saw, and I remembered that I didn't put the dowel pins in. So that centers the head gasket to make sure that everything fits properly. So the solution to that was I had to pull the heads back off and install some dowel pins, which I then had to track down. And so anyway, that was Monday. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday has been torquing things and installing the valve train and the valve covers and all that. And so that's honestly gone pretty well. I had to go run a torque wrench. I borrowed my buddy's foot-pound, but I guess he let someone borrow it, and it's not torquing properly. So that was a no-go. I had to rent one from O'Reilly, which worked great. Got the heads torqued, got the valve train torqued, got the valve cover torqued, or valve covers torqued, and today we put the throttle body back on the intake manifold and put the intake manifold on the engine, and torqued that down, all proper torque. So kind of called it quits at a point where I was ready to install the fuel rail, Oh, we also today we put on the coils and the coil pack holder. So right now we have to do the fuel rails. I have to hook up some of the coolant lines, and then we are at adding coolant, adding oil, spark plugs. Probably gonna have to jump the truck off. It's been almost a month at this point, and she should fire tomorrow, 100%. I'm pretty certain. There was a little hiccup today. I cleaned up the intake manifold and the valve covers at a different location, much like you saw me doing with the heads. That was not recorded. I left one of the intake manifold bolts at that location. I realized this, and I remembered grabbing it, and I put it in my pocket. I remember that. I remember even bringing it home, and I was supposed to, in my head, I put it somewhere for safekeeping that I would not forget it. I have done the classic mistake that every parent's made at least once. Not that I'm a parent, but just you hide a present from yourself. One of the kids' presents, you're gonna find it. You bought them something at 5, and you're gonna find it when they're 18. So I have hidden this intake manifold bolt from myself. No one sells them. No one that I can get them from tonight. So I've ended up. I didn't want to, but I just found a bolt at Lowe's as kind of a placeholder, and that will kind of just put a little pressure on the manifold right there, and I kind of put that bolt towards the middle. But I was really just trying to fire it today or tonight, and that just didn't happen. I also had to go get O-rings for the coolant crossover in the front. The coolant crossover in the back still had its O-rings, so it was no big deal. But in the front, no O-rings. One's ripped and one fell out. So I had to go get O-rings too. So that's kind of where we're at. I also have to install the coolant crossover, but we're so close. I've had this truck for it'll be 8 years in December, and I've driven it personally about 160,000 miles. She's at 250,000 total. She's just been a fantastic, phenomenal vehicle, and I did all the wrenching myself until Tuesday. My buddy Travis came over. He'll be at the camp out, and he's been helping me turn wrenches. First day he just kind of hung out while I did everything, because I was kind of really insistent on kind of doing it all myself. And then towards the end of the day, he helped me with the exhaust manifolds and kind of moving those around and getting those hooked up. And then he helped me disconnect the passenger side from the bottom of the manifold. And so anyway, and he helped me yesterday, helped me today. This is probably going to be the last video before the camp out. The camp out video hopefully will be, it'll start with the first fire of the Vortec Max after the cylinder head, the head gasket rebuild. So that's kind of where we're at. We're gonna get the camp out video going. Really cutting it close to the Vortec Max. I'm only working on it a couple hours a day after work, because I'm just slap tired after work. I work at a very physically demanding job. Sometimes I'm at a desk. Sometimes I'm, lifting 200-pound objects. It's an interesting, and going up flights of stairs or ladders or whatever you want to say. But it's an interesting. It's a fantastic job. It's an interesting job. I love it, but it's a little different. But I'm always really tired. I got to drive an hour there and an hour back every day. I'm driving like 100 miles a day, which the Vortec Max is not the best vehicle for that, because she gets, about 14 miles per gallon no matter what I do, around town, interstate, granny driving. If I'm a little heavy in the foot, she'll get about 13. Towing, she'll get like 12. So she's just kind of she has an attitude and a personality, and she's been fantastic. She's been fairly trouble-free, and even in giving me trouble, she has been trouble-free. Honestly, she's gone back together really well, so I can't complain. So, anyway, at this point, I'm going to cut this part right here, and then I'm going to walk around to the front of the truck, and I'm going to show you the motor with the intake manifold. It's night, it's dark. I'm going to get this flashlight out. I'm going to just put some light on the motor and just let's take a peek. So, see you in a couple seconds. So, look what I found. I was going through the front seat one more time, and wrapped up in a blue shop towel, I found this. So I'm going to go take the placeholder out tomorrow, put this back in, retorque everything, and I'll feel a lot better about my my intake seal. But boy, I'm feeling just about stupid right now, but I'm also very relieved. I knew it was around here somewhere. So, all right, let's go take a peek at that motor. Okay, maybe this wasn't a great idea. You can't see a whole lot, but you see everything installed. Our fuel rail needs to be bolted down. Coolant crossover's got to go in. Got everything mounted up. So everything's here. The makings are there. So we just gotta forge ahead tomorrow, and that'll be all she wrote. And then, like I said, she'll be out at the camp out. So especially since I found that intake manifold bolt, so I'm feeling pretty good. So all right, we will see you guys in the camp out video.